Video is about DNA structure and DNA replication. We're going to use the Gizmos tool. It's under building DNA. It's a Gizmos tool, and it's a really great visual because it shows all of the structural pieces of DNA and then how the DNA is replicated. It's a great little simulation. Here on the side panel you have nucleosides, and nucleosides are composed of a pentagonal sugar. This is deoxyribose, and it is attached to a nitrogen base. One of those nitrogen bases is adenine. You have adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. And so in order to build a DNA strand, you need these phosphates, you need these deoxyribose sugars, and you need your nitrogen base. The nitrogen bases are the actual code within the DNA that are going to code for an amino acid. And if you recall from a previous unit, amino acids are the building blocks of all of the proteins that your ribosomes make. Okay, so I'm building my the one side of the DNA structure using my phosphates and sugars, which are attached to the 4 nitrogen bases of DNA. And when we talk about RNA, those nitrogen bases are very similar to RNA, but that's another story. The way that DNA is structured is you have those sides, the phosphates and the sugars, that end up being the backbone for DNA. These sugars and these phosphates end up being the backbone. And again, the nitrogen bases, the 4 nitrogen bases here, are in a specific order, and every 3 of these nitrogen bases is going to code for an amino acid. And we'll get to the more detail on that later. But in a DNA structure, you have complementary base pairing. A is always going to, or adenine, is always going to pair with thymine. Okay? And cytosine, or C, is always going to be paired with guanine, G. Okay? You may notice I can try to pair these up, and it's just not going to work unless you have thymine and adenine pairing up. Okay, again, we're going to need another adenine to pair with thymine, and we're going to need a cytosine to pair with guanine in this structure, and it will show us a little strand, a little section, a very small section of DNA, or deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, and again, it's very important that they pair up because that is the code. So you can see here, this is a tiny little strand. You have a tiny little section of DNA that holds 8 different pairs of, or 8 pairs of nitrogen bases. So this is what is composed, this is what DNA is composed of. Again, that backbone is composed of phosphates and sugars, also known as deoxyribose, and the rungs are composed of the nitrogen bases that code. Okay, and I'm just going to show a short film on the nitrogen base structures.
A, C, G, and T, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. These are the 4 chemical building blocks of the DNA molecule. They are components of nucleic acid, which gives DNA its tongue-twisting full name, deoxyribonucleic acid.
Okay, so those are your nitrogen bases.
And T.
If you want to go ahead and write those down, adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. Those are your nitrogen bases that make up those rungs. adenine, cytosine, guanine, and thymine. And here they are pairing up in that DNA structure.